Hi, this is Glenda. I've been a little bit absent this week. I started playing with masking and didn't get terribly far into it when I got this, my new Android tablet. So I've been totally distracted, spending several days setting it all up and playing with it and having lots of fun. No crafting. So, masking. As I say, I didn't get terribly far with it. It's a huge subject and I was never going to cover the whole thing anyway. So I thought I'd share with you what I've done. Masking is simply covering up any part of your image or project to protect it while you work on the bit that isn't covered, to get different effects. So all of these are examples of masking. So I thought we'll look at a few separately. So if we start with this sort of thing, if you simply have some tape, masking is good because you can use very, very basic materials without getting anything super duper fancy, and you can pretty much use what you've got. So if we just take some low-tack masking tape, you can also use post-it notes, you can use paper with a piece of, with a bit of removable tape on the back. You know, you don't need special tools for this. So if we just have approximately straight edges, which will be an achievement for me, which is the top that way. So then all you need to do is take some distress ink or whatever ink you've got and rub it on. Obviously you can use more than two colours, you can take a bit more time than this. Then when you reveal it, you've got your background all ready to just stamp over. This has been stamped and then stamped off again in the background. And you know, really simple technique. You can reuse your tape if you don't scrunch it into a horrible heap. This one's done exactly the same way except vertically. Then when you've done something like this, you can choose whether to stamp going outside those edges, or you can do something where it stays entirely in the area that you've masked. So, I mean, other masks come in all sorts. You know, there's all sorts of things you can get. You can also, you know, this was just an embellishment. Now I've used that to mask on occasion. You can, I don't know if you can even see that. No, I haven't got anything black to put it on, never mind. But it's a piece of acetate, just die cut, so you can use that. On that occasion I actually used the outer bit, which has a name. It's also, you know, this is a doodle stencil, so once again you're masking off and you draw in the stencil holes. It's a type of mask, even though it's technically stenciling. One thing that is really useful, if you can get it, is masking paper. That's how I did this one. I mean, you can do it out of any kind of paper you like, but the advantage of this is you can use it over and over and it's clear, so when you put it down you can see exactly where you're putting it and what effect you're having. So I used this little square to do this one, and I simply inked my square the same way and then stamped on it, then moved my mask down 3 times. So you can cut any shape you like. That was done with a Spellbinders Labels die cut. Same thing out of the masking paper. So, you know, that has the advantage of all sorts of shapes, and then I can save it to use it another time. But equally, I could have done it out of post-it notes or anything else. But I think if you can get it, that's probably worthwhile. Sorry, I need a bigger desk for this. I mean, here's one. I've just cut it out of paper. There's another one of those stencils loitering around. I just used my slice machine to cut out a shape. So then for this one, I used this part of the mask, and same thing, inked it up and stamped it, and then moved my mask, and I just used some removable tape on that. For this one, I used both pieces. I put this down and did all my inking around. I lifted it and replaced it with this, and did the stamping. So, you know, you have all sorts of possibilities with masking. And I used the wrong card for my demonstration because I was going to use this one and use the little one for the other one, but never mind. So then this one is just done with torn paper. And I have a piece I prepared earlier, but you get a sort of a faux layer look if you do torn paper. And you would obviously colour the whole half of it, and as I said, I was going to do it on a smaller one. So I masked it off and inked it, and then I stamped it, and then I moved my paper out, and then I stamped my girl on the front. So that's that one. You can also punch an edge and get a faux sort of punched edge on your card. You can do sort of that sort of caper. So, you know, basically anything you can think of, pretty much you can use to mask. So that one, this is not a very good card there. I've done the edges. Here I punched out a butterfly strip, which you may not be able to see with a punch, and used it as a stencil, a mask stencil. And no, it's a mask, isn't it, if you do it that way. And then the piece that I had on there when I sprayed, of course, got all coloured, so I stuck it on, and yeah, it's a lousy card. Here's another one where I used the masking paper, cut a circle, inked inside, stamped it, then lifted it, and my stamp only goes over the edge. This was cased from somebody from the other day, and I've forgotten the lady's name because it was a week ago. And this last one, I used a few techniques, but I had one of these bought stencils and sprayed it. So, you know, you can just use any of your stencils and spray it instead of inking it. I would advise sticking it down with the tape, but even so, you get an interesting effect. So that's my quick summary of masking. I don't know how useful it is. It's, as I said, or at least I've probably said, probably for the newer stampers, but it is something you can do very, very cheaply and for all occasions, and it lends itself to the clean and simple cards, you know, along these lines. I would call all of these fairly clean and simple. And now that I've started babbling, I think it's probably time to stop filming. So if you stuck this out, thanks for watching.